Good morning, lovely people. Today I'm drawing this merhorse that's for my upcoming coloring book. And the coloring book will be out when I am done with it, whenever that is. I wanted to talk about getting out of a funk because that's what's been going on for me lately. I have been in such a bad funk. It's been a time. Basically, I had this convention that I was tabling at, and those are so much fun for me, and I am a pretty social person, but I'm also introverted, so they take me out completely. So it's a lot to prepare for them, it's a lot to do them, and then I'm completely dead for a couple of days. So I spent the following days after the convention just kind of couch rotting. But then I noticed that it was getting extremely hard for me to get off the couch and do other stuff that I had to do. And it was getting really hard for me to be creative and to, do my job, which is drawing all day, every day. So I would just have this little routine, right, where the following days after the convention, I was like, okay, well, I'm tired. I am going to go have breakfast on my couch and watch Miraculous Ladybug, because that's what I'm doing right now. And then that would become my routine for the whole week. Whoops. So I would just, do that, and then it would be really hard for me to do other stuff after that. So I was just stuck in this lethargic mode where I was just tired, not feeling like I wanted to do anything. It was a funk, and the first few days I was like, okay, well, I just needed a little bit more time to rest after the convention. It was a lot, I'm tired. But then after a while I was starting to get frustrated. I was like, well, why can't I do things, And that's when I identified that I had a funk. So I wanted to talk about how to get out of a funk, because that's what I had to do. Because here's the thing about funks is that they're not fun to get out of, okay? Because you can be like, I want to get out of this funk, but everything just kind of screams no, so you kind of have to always sort of wiggle your way out of them, or almost push yourself out of them, So that's the hard thing about them, and these are my strategies for getting out of a funk, and I would be curious to know if you have any strategies too, and maybe they won't be helpful to you, maybe they will be helpful to you. I hope you can come out of it with some new ideas, maybe. I don't know. Strategy 1. I like to call this one battle strategy, and basically, I like to whip this one out when I'm struggling with the executives not functioning. And so I'm somebody who struggles a bit with executive dysfunction, and if you have that too, that's, it's a pain. Basically, it's when you have to do something, but you just can't, or it's just, you get kind of confused by there being too many steps, and you kind of don't know where to start. No matter how important the task is, or how easy it might seem for other people who don't struggle with executive dysfunction, you can't do it. Okay. So what I like to do in those cases, because to me it usually hits when I have to deal with any sort of paperwork. So I like to take a little sheet of paper out, and I title it Battle Strategy with 2 swords on either side to make it look a little bit more fun. And we're gonna gamify this task, okay? And then in the objective, this is the battle objective, you write down your goal, or if you have more than one goal that's messing you up, you write both of them, all of them. And then you write out a little list of step-by-steps how to accomplish this goal. And they have to be stupid detailed, okay? Like, my steps can look like open your email inbox, locate this email, download file, go to whatever website, upload file, like that kind of thing. Like, it has to be dumbed down, like, a lot, because that's where, like, the executives start to function again, basically. And that's where you start having, like, I think there's, like, almost like a distinction between, in my brain at least, the doer and, like, the director, or, like, the thinker, the manager, let's call it a manager, okay? So, like, there's a difference between the doer and the manager, and I can't be both at the same time. So I have to, like, be the manager for a little bit and, like, task out, like, just visualize everything that has to be done and, like, plan it out, and then I can be the doer and I don't have to think about it anymore. So I find that extremely helpful, and if you want to be, like, if you want extra motivation, you can, like, add little rewards as well, and then you, like, knock the list off as you go, and that usually helps me quite a bit with when the executives are not functioning. The next strategy is identify what slows you down, and I've had to do quite a bit of that, because when I examined my routines throughout the week, what I noticed was the going straight from bed to getting my breakfast and then to the couch to watch Miraculous Ladybug, which is a great show. You should watch it. And I would just get stuck there, and it would be really hard for me to move from there to here, my table, my where I do my work. So as much as it hurt, I had to stop doing that. And the thing with, like, funks is you can't really expect to start changing things and it feeling better right away. You kind of have to, like, be a little bit patient with yourself, and I was fully aware that, like, I'm going to make a change to just sit and have breakfast at my table instead, and see if I can start doing some work as well while I do that, and if I can't, that's okay, like, because at least I'm not at the sofa, you know what I mean? So that's what I did, and it actually helped me massively. Like, it turns out that routine that I had was the killer for me. And you might have little routines like that too. Maybe you're somebody who has, like, a 9-to-5, and you come home and you know that there are things, like, you have this passion project, but you can't do it because, like, the moment you get home, you just think, I'm gonna just, like, rest a little bit on the couch. It's a trap, don't do it. Just, you know, get to your desk, do some stuff, and then you can rest. That's my tip for you. And there might be other things in your way, in your life, little routines that aren't very motivating for you, but that feel good in the moment, like that kind of a thing. So examine those. I had to give that one routine up. And it helped. It really did. The next strategy is the good job list. And it's pretty good for when you're feeling very unmotivated or very lethargic. I pull this one out in periods where I'm dealing with, like, a little bit of burnout. And basically it's, you take out a sheet of paper and you write, like, on the top of it, you write out, I am proud of myself for, : and then you write out everything you do throughout the day. And it sounds very self-helpy, very, you know, don't judge me, but it works. It really does. And, like, it is important to write out, like, I am proud of myself for, or I'm grateful to myself for, in the start. Like, that's the load bearer, okay? Like, you have to do it. I'm sorry. It sounds so corny. You have to do it. It's the thing that changes everything, okay? Because even if you don't believe it, it still does something to you. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know how. I don't know why. but it works and it helps. And even if you look at it and you're like, this is so stupid, this is so silly, something in your subconscious is like, I am proud of myself for this, actually. Okay? And that's like, that's the thing. You have to be proud of yourself for every small little thing you did. So you write that down. And then you're like, okay, I guess now I have to like look for things to be proud of to myself. Wow, that sentence. And then you like go take a walk. And then you come back and you write down, I took a walk. And then you're like, damn, I guess I am like a little bit proud of myself for this. Let's go find something else I can be proud of myself for doing. And like, eventually you fill this list up. And that feels pretty good. Not gonna lie. But yeah, honestly, I use this method when I'm dealing with some burnout, like I said, or struggling in general. And eventually, when you've like done this list, like sometimes I've had like periods of times where I've used this list like every day for a period of time, and then eventually you just kind of start doing things on your own without like thinking about it or without having to like motivate yourself this way to do it. So there you go. The next strategy is do the basics. Have you taken care of the basics? Basically, humans are animals with certain needs, and sometimes when they are not fulfilled, we feel like crap, and then we can't do our things. And so, basic human needs is you have to eat things, preferably with nutritions. You have to get some exercise. You have to have some human interaction. You have to hydrate, and you have to sleep. I am sorry to say this, but these are things you need. So if you have not been like eating that well for a while, maybe that's something that you could take a little look at, or like maybe you've had a period of bad sleep, in which case, I'm sorry, I hope you sleep better soon. Contact a doctor if this persists. If you haven't really had any social interaction, and like sometimes it kind of doesn't really count if it's just at work, because sometimes you will like meet people at work and you will like talk to them, but it's not really like meaningful in the same way as like hanging out with a friend, for example. So sometimes you need that, so call a friend, or I think that the best thing is, face-to-face seeing somebody. If you can't do that, do make that phone call. I know some people have a very, very hard time with phone calls. Do chatting as like a bare minimum, but like try to meet people, because we need that. And, like do exercise. And I don't mean like you have to go become a bodybuilder at the gym. Just take a walk. Walking is good exercise. The point is to just get your blood pumping a little bit so you can pump out all the energy that you consumed from your hopefully nutritious meal, And like when I say nutritious meal, you don't have to like, I don't mean you have to like be going on an extreme diet or something. Just like make sure to like have like a fruit, like a vegetable, because sometimes we get stuck in, and sometimes it can just be like switching things a little bit, because I'm aware that people are extremely busy. I am too, and sometimes we get stuck in eating the same thing over and over again. So maybe like switching something out would help a little bit to get some new nutrients and new vitamins and stuff like that. It's important. Drink water. Please, drink water. Yeah, that's like the most boring advice on the list, I think, but like sometimes it's just so easy to fall off these things, and it's so interesting how load-bearing they are. So make sure that you have these things covered. And I completely understand, like sometimes life screws us over, and one of these things might be really, really hard to accomplish, in which case we just kind of need to be patient with ourselves. And that is it for this video. thank you so much for watching. I hope you get out of your funk. I got out of mine, so that's nice. I have a Patreon now, so if you want to join it, that would be cool. You don't have to, but if you did, you would have access to a bunch of work in progress stuff that I post on the, like, there is a Discord attached to it, and it has a little channel where I post live updates on things that I'm working on, so that's fun. And there's not a lot of patrons supporters right now, so you would have me pretty much to yourself, if you would like. You would also get access to early content, like early webcomic updates and early art and early... I'm trying to figure out how to do these videos early as well. And there is also an art tier where you, if you support it, you can make me draw anything you want me to draw, basically. So that's pretty cool. I hope you would consider joining. If not, that's completely okay. Appreciate you being here. Thank you to my 2 whole Patreon supporters. I super appreciate you guys. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Hang on a moment. Like, what is this? Cool fish wallpapers? Ooh.